out what's really holding you back. By that, I mean, what version of you is holding you back? And there are three very socially accepted identities that most women fall victim to. And so I'm going to break these down for you today. I'm going to prompt you with a couple questions so that you can move out of these identities and also call yourself out in the moment when you feel yourself regressing back into this. Your future self, she does not operate from any of this shit. So the first one is the permission seeker. You learned this the first time you went to school and had to raise your hand to go to the fucking bathroom. Are you kidding me? To relieve yourself of a bodily need, you had to ask somebody else for permission. So this identity goes way back. The problem is it sneaks in when you start gaslighting yourself into thinking you don't know enough. So when you're working towards your big delusional goals, you are creating the life of your dreams where you have limitless abundance, you are going to hear this voice come up and be like, who are you to do this? You don't know enough. What skills can you bring to the table? What value do you really have? Because you are so used to being graded in your life. If you think about this from a relationship standpoint, how you show up in your relationship is very much reflective of how the other person shows up, right? But when you are operating from future self, you are self-led. You show up, you bring the energy, you are the leader, you set the standard and other people follow. You're not waiting for permission of how to act. I want you to reflect on what sensation and where in your body do you feel this sensation whenever you think about trusting yourself. Whenever you think, I am the best at what I fucking do, and I don't need permission from anybody. I just need to show up and I need to do it. Where do you feel that tension? That will tell you where you've been operating as this permission seeker. Now, you've already done the 7-day reset, but if you need to dive into that again, I want to encourage you to do that as many times as possible. Because every once in a while, we are going to need to do a nervous system reset because our nervous system is going to be like, whoa, we're changing so fast because you're showing up as your future self. It's like, how do I regulate myself through this? And so you can go back to those 7 practices. The second very socially accepted identity, this is significant. If you are a highly emotional human being, this is the people pleaser. We all fall victim to the people pleaser every now and then. You can read the room. You can walk into a space and you can feel the emotions and you will make yourself small to make other people comfortable. Well, guess what? This bitch over here living the big delusional life, all the impact, the purpose, the income, everything she desires, she doesn't play small to make people comfortable. Like I said before, she raises the standards and brings people up to live up to their full potential instead of coming down to where they are. You have probably experienced this in a relationship in your past before, where somebody dates you or they want to be friends with you because you inspire them, you motivate them. They're like, oh my God, you're so incredible. Then when you keep holding your own, they start to feel shitty about themselves because they realize, man, it requires a little bit of work to come up to your level. So they try to bring you down to theirs. I hope you're raising your hand or nodding along right now and like, yeah, dated that person, glad I left them, or dating that person now and thank you, Angie, it's time to leave. Somebody who doesn't want to live up to your expectations, somebody who does not want to live up to their potential, they're always going to try to drag your energy down. They're always going to try to drag you down because what happens when you show up as your best self is you become a mirror. And many people are inspired by what they see because you show them what's possible. But some people are threatened by what they see because it shows them what they are unwilling to do for themselves. So people pleasing is owning that energy. It is owning who you are and trusting that you are connecting with the people that need permission to move in a way of their best selves, that need permission to show up for themselves by you setting the example, setting the tone. So I'm going to give you a very quick example of this one. I have a girlfriend who is struggling. She is going through it. Oh my God. I show up like this all the time. Like, this is who I am. I'm genuinely excited about life. And then I catch myself when I'm in her presence or when I'm in a group of my girlfriend's presence and they're complaining about stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I better tone it down a bit. Even though I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited about my life. Don't tone it down anymore. Hold your own. They are uncomfortable, but that means nothing about you. The problem with people pleasing is you will start to wear different masks for different people, and then you lose yourself. You are a moth to a flame, like my good friend Amy, who passed away in 2012, who was so disconnected from who she was at her soul. She also struggled with borderline personality disorder. Her mom wrote a book about her, A Moth to the Flame. And so I use her often as an example because she had a tragic death where she was murdered. And she could never find that home within herself. And that is because we are always trying to people please, and everybody wants something different. Everybody's perception is different. That's the way our brain works, right? You're the mirror. Everybody's going to see a reflection different from you. So when you can own that energy and trust that you are being a leader for not only yourself, but for a movement of everybody else coming up, raising the standards, stepping into their potential. So when you feel the pressure, figure out where it's coming in your body, have awareness to that pressure, and then do some of that belly breathing that you learned in the 7-day reset and just bring yourself back home and trust that you do not need to make other people comfortable. It is not your job. Your job is to be the best version of yourself and to show other people that they have potential to do the same. The last socially accepted identity, the one that makes me the most angry, is this idea that self-sacrificing makes you a good person. It makes you a morally righteous person. I see this all the time where women like gaslight themselves into being grateful for what they have, and then they don't want to go for more. And you can be grateful for what you have and still want a bigger fucking life. And the reason we're taught this is that we're greedy if we want more money. That in some way, if we have more life, that means somebody gets less. It's not fucking pie, you guys. There is no shortage of success. Everybody has the opportunity to become the best version of themselves. And if you watch any rags to riches stories, you will see that. Some of the most influential people in the world came from absolutely nothing. They came from nothing but suffering. And so suffering is sometimes necessary in order for people to come out on the other side. So self-sacrificing is not making you a good person. What makes you a good person is showing up ethically, with values, with the intention of being the best version of who you can be. Understanding that when you sacrifice that, you sacrifice the pieces of you. And what happens when you do that is you shrink your impact. If you are constantly saying yes, yes, yes to everybody else and no to yourself, no to your dreams, your goals, your rest, your sleep, your mental health, then you reduce your capacity for what you were put here to do. You reduce your capacity for the impact that you were meant to make. So every time you feel yourself wanting to say no, I want you to ask yourself, am I doing this out of guilt because I think it makes me a bad person if I say no? Or should I focus on what impact can I make by honoring my own needs first? To wrap up these 3 identities, I always want you to ask yourself this one question. It will always bring you back to future you. What would I do in any of these scenarios where you start to feel these surface, you get the sensation it's uncomfortable? What would I do if I trusted that if I showed up as my future self, everything was going to work out? What would I do if I trusted I would still be loved? What would I say if I trusted that I would still be accepted and I would still belong? How would I show up? And then you show up from that place. And of course, don't forget to celebrate whenever you show up as the best version of yourself to teach your little brain up here, hey, this is how we do things now. This is how we move.